Thank you all for joining us on this great occasion for our department, for the College of Natural Science, and for the whole university. We're here to honor the first recipient of the Woo Ki Tung Endowed Professorship in Particle Physics, CP Yuan. We're also here to celebrate the vision and generosity of the Tung family, who have endowed this position in memory of Woo Ki Tung, who was a colleague of ours in the department and who had a big impact on our department and on the field of particle physics. We welcome also Lei Tung, who's here, and it's great to have Lei here. We look forward to hearing from him later in the program. So with that, I'll hand the program over to Doug Gage, who's going to say a few words on behalf of the Vice President.
Thank you. It's really a great honor to represent the university on this occasion. Endowed professorships are one of the most valuable things that the university can offer, and it is one of the ways we can, I think, show our appreciation to our outstanding faculty who are awarded these very prestigious fellowships. So let me you're going to hear a little bit more about CP and what he does a little bit later. I want to thank Woo Ki Tung and family for this really great investment in the university. So we're extremely honored by that. I want to say something about what these endowments do. It really is the permanence of them. I think that's something that's maybe underappreciated, that when an award like this is made, it's for the entire career of that individual. And when our endowed professors are out competing, as they all do, for research funding and other achievements, this puts them in very good stead. And so it's something that is extremely valuable for the university. So one of the things, MSU, I've been here almost my entire career, and I would say right now we are probably in one of the most optimistic times, at least in my time here at MSU, in terms of what's happening in the research world in particular. So it's a very timely award for CP, and hopefully we will all see many more great things to come out of this, of his work as under his new august title. So thank you so much, and I'm going to turn it over to, I believe, the Dean of the College of Natural Science, Jim Kirkpatrick. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Doug. So, on behalf of the college, good afternoon, and thank you for coming. Welcome. We're really glad you're here today. So, my most important job is to say, CP, on behalf of the faculty and staff of the College of Natural Science, congratulations, and thank you for everything you've done, and we're looking forward to great things. And like Doug, I want to take this opportunity to thank Lei and the Tung family for making this endowed position possible. Commitment, and this is no joke, commitment and dedication of donors like you enrich the lives of the faculty and students, and guarantee that there's going to be resources going forward to help Michigan State lead the world in education and research in perpetuity. And that's really the impact of these endowed positions. So, you just heard from Doug, I mean, these positions are really important. They are indeed the hallmark of every great university. And we absolutely need as many as we can get to increase Michigan State's competitiveness. They allow us to compete nationally and internationally to attract and retain the most outstanding educators and researchers, and as importantly, to be able to think long-term about the investments we want to make in the scientific directions that will position us for leadership in the future. Great faculty attract other great faculty, which is that, you know, thinking as a chemist, this is an autocatalytic situation. Great faculty attract great grad students and postdocs. And these students and postdocs not only work with the faculty members, but they're the future of the country's and indeed the world's scientific enterprise. So again, an impact of these kinds of positions at the university, but beyond the university. And great faculty members also attract external funding. And it's no secret that competition for funding is getting harder and harder. And the institutions that survive and are going to make a difference in the world are the ones that can attract this funding and have these endowed positions, and we intend to be among those institutions. So CP is an expert in theoretical high energy physics, and as we're going to hear, has played a great role in many research directions. And certainly from my standpoint, recognizing you with this professorship is going to help guarantee the continued growth, quality, impact of the Department of Physics and Astronomy. So again, CP, congratulations. We're looking forward to many great things. And next up is Chip Rock, University Distinguished Professor, longtime faculty member of the department, former chair, who's going to share some reflections on Wookie Tung's role, contributions to the department in Michigan State, and make other comments. So, Chip.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is a great occasion, and I like being able to talk about my dear friend, Wookie Tung. Wookie would be thrilled with this honor, and so are we. Well, you and your family have ensured that your dad's name will survive all of us who've been fortunate to have been in his orbit. Wookie loved universities, so an endowed professorship, that's perfect. He thrived on the focus of research, the camaraderie, and he deeply respected the pedagogy of physics and mathematics. Wookie might have been the most organized person I think I've ever known. He organized ideas, strategies, people, and things. I remember being in his Hyde Park study many years ago. Lined on one wall was a specially built, looked like to me, specially built bookshelf with little shelves that were just exactly the right size for exabyte tape cartridges, because Wookie had what I thought were at least 100 digital recorded operatic performances that he would listen to deep in the night. Digital recordings in 1980, who does that? Your dad's notebooks were the same. He'd start a problem slowly and lovingly build a handwritten book covering the project from the beginning to the end. Everything for Wookie was a project. Even his coming to East Lansing was a patient project. In the late 1980s, we committed here to a tight collaborative environment between theory and experiment in high energy physics, and we began an extended search for a senior physicist around whom to anchor it. We had dozens of candidates, and during 3 years, we substantially raised the salaries of 3 prominent senior colleagues back at their home institutions. I remember riding in a car in 1991 on the Fermilab site with Wookie. He was driving. I don't remember why. We were together at that time. And he quietly asked me, "Would you be interested in me?" "I won't play games." Your dad didn't play games with academia. He'd stepped down his chair at IIT, and he knew how to hire, so he knew how to be hired. He and Gary Crawley came to terms very quickly, and an incredibly productive era in our group began. and many of our families formed warm bonds with your mom and dad. Janet, Kimberly, Terry, and I were especially close to Wookie and Beatrice. We knew we could count on them if we needed to. Just before that, he'd identified a project. He'd realized that the highest priority programs in worldwide high-energy physics experiments were limited by theoretical physics, which could be overcome, he thought, with collaboration across professional barriers. No better place to set up shop than here. And soon after he arrived, he had everyone engaged. We're now known worldwide for this collaborative approach, continuing today under the leadership of CP and Joey Houston. The name of the group is CTEC. It's a tortured acronym I'm not going to try to explain, but the CTEC collaboration and publications are the most highly cited papers in the American Physical Society. The CTEC Summer School is a worldwide affair. It all set down roots at MSU because of Wookie's ability to predict the future and his tenacity to make it happen. CTEC lives on, and its original members will never forget Wookie. And now everyone will remember Wookie. I'd like to acknowledge that one of these, Dave Silver, one of the original guys, is here from Oregon as a measure of his devotion to CTEC in Chicago and this event here today. Wookie changed his career dramatically in order to take on this unromantic joint experiment theory project. But he had a front half of a career, that of a respected deep theoretical physicist. He was guided in that work often by the mathematics of group theory. So before starting this new program of sleeves rolled up problem solver, he completed his program of formal theorist by writing what I think is the most beautiful book on group theory ever. In 1985, it's still around today. I devotedly use it when I teach group theory to graduate students. Wookie took intense personal interest in all of those around him, from the Asian student newly arriving on campus to the assistant professor just beginning to create an independent program, to the seasoned campus veteran searching his way through a knotty administrative problem. What troubled you troubled Wookie. So now we welcome our first Wookie Tung Endowed Professor. CP is also a project man, I'm happy to report, managing to keep a dozen people busy on problems, many of which follow the trajectory originally forged by Wookie. Many experimenters work with CP today, me among them. Leigh, I want your mom to know that it's enormously satisfying to me that this inaugural honor goes to his friend and trusted colleague, CP. Wookie's legacy is in fine hands, and the bar is now very high, which is exactly what he would like. With that, I'll turn the program over to Physics and Astronomy Professor Emeritus Wayne Repko, who will introduce CP.
It's a great honor to be able to introduce the guy that everybody's talking about, the first Wookie Tung Endowed Professor of Particle Physics. So CP received his bachelor's degree from National Taiwan Normal University in 1980, and then after completing his military obligations, enrolled in the University of Michigan in 1983 and graduated with a PhD in 1988. CP's thesis was on a familiar subject, the extension of the Goldstone boson equivalence theorem to one loop. I'm sure you all will be able to imagine how that worked out. In addition to solving that problem, he also solved another problem as a new graduate student in the United States. He solved the problem of making his own breakfast and lunch by eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for 2 years, every day. It may explain why he's avoid certain aisles in the grocery store. So after graduating from U of M, he was a postdoc at Argonne National Lab, and he was one of the first theorists to recognize the importance of single top production due to the weak interaction. He also went on to Johns Hopkins from 1990 to 1992 as a postdoc. CP joined the faculty here in '92 and became a member of Wu Qi-tung's CTEC collaboration. He has since become a fellow of the American Physical Society. And to get to the point, today he will tell us about Wu Qi's views of theoretical and experimental collaboration in high energy physics and of the legacy of the continued development of distribution functions for the use of high energy physics. So, CP, it's all yours.
So this is the colloquium we heard from our visitor, Professor John Rosner, saying that Wu Qi had this uncertainty principle, delta E delta T greater than 1. And then John was telling us that the delta E in here is the difficulty of the experiment, and delta T is the difficulty of the theory, and that's always product greater than 1, meaning that if you pick a project, it's more difficult in the theory, then probably the experiment is easier. And so that's what he decided to do, is to pick something experimental is more difficult, and so the theory will be easier. But today, in fact, I would like to say another aspect of Tung's relation about this equation. So that's what I want to talk about today. All right. So as Chip already told you that back in the 1990s, pretty much this is the high energy physics at the time. The theorists and experimentalists, they don't talk to each other. And I remember when I first joined the CTAC, and in that meeting you can hear the question, experimentalists asking that, what does that mean about this measurement? And then you also heard that the theorists making predictions, but then immediately people like me, I look at that number, I say, but that's wrong, it does not agree with data. But the theorists were still very happy that they developed some new mechanism doing something. So that was at that time. And then, so then 91, and so that's what Wu Qi realized, that this situation need to be improved. It's very important, like Chip was saying, something has to be done. So that's why that Wu Qi established this CTEC collaboration, just to join the theorists and experimentalists. And the CTEC is here, Coordinated Theoretical Experimental Project on QCD. Yeah? So that's a CTEQ. And that's what the CTEC. So this was the 1991, and Chip already told you that 1991 that Wu Qi already started this project. In 92, then he came here, right? The CTAC this was built, at that time was built, and again, Wu Qi established this collaboration, and it's consists of theorists and experimentalists, and the goal is to interpret the existing data and to propose a new measurement to test some theory, either standard model or beyond the standard model, and then making predictions. Then experimenters have to build a new experiment. So all these goals can only be achieved by a very intensive discussions among the theorists and experimentalists. So they really have to talk to each other in order to move forward about this great project. So that was what the CTEC about, and still that's what CTEC is about today. So at this moment, today, the CTEC collaboration consists of the 39 theorists and experimentalists at the 22 university and 5 national lab. And then the main collaborative activities involve this field. There's the CTEC Summer School, and Dave Soper, Professor Dave Soper, has been on that committee for many, many years, right, to organize the summer school. And then there's another Wu Qi-tung Award for early career research on QCD. Joey is the one that has been in charge of that committee to give out this Wu Qi-tung Award every year to recognize these, the early career theorists and experimentalists working on the QCD within the CTAC collaboration. So this PDF global analysis is another collaborative activities within the CTAC collaboration. And currently we have all the 3 different kind of the analysis, global analysis. One is the CTAC-T, that's Tung et al. That's our group here, and our collaborators elsewhere. I will talk more about this later on. And then there's another one is the CTAC Jefferson Lab collaboration, also within CTAC. And then there's NCTAC, that's yet another collaboration to do with the global analysis, but they are dealing with different aspects of physics. Like our CTAC-T, as I'm going to tell you, it's more toward the application relevant to the LHC physics and high energy collider, for example. And the NCTAC will be more like in the close to nuclear physics community. And then the CTAC Jefferson Lab is sort of in between. That's what that is within this our collaboration. So it's a big project within the CTAC, and then we're working on this PDF global analysis. So then what's PDF? All right, so let me just say a few words about this PDF. It's called Parton Distribution Function, PDF. That's Parton Distribution Function. So what's the physics of this Parton Distribution Function? Why it's important? The Parton Distribution Function, this is as follows. Suppose you have proton as moving with a very high speed in the collision, then the way we deal with that collision process is to think of all the partons inside this proton. And it's the partons, they interact, and from that, we know how to do the calculation involving the partons. Then we multiply that cross-section together with the probability of finding this parton carrying a momentum fraction x inside the proton. So therefore, it's a distribution function that at this moment, we don't know how to calculate yet, not yet. But we have the framework of the theory to tell us how to do the measurement. Namely, how to compare data with theory prediction in order to extract this important information about this probability function. That's called PDF. Now, why do we need PDF? Well, in fact, it's needed everywhere. For example, at LHC, that's a collision of proton and proton, or at Tevatron, that Fermilab in Chicago, that's a proton and antiproton collision. We need to know what's the probability of these partons go into the interactions. And because this is the part that we know how to apply our theory to do calculation. But this is the part we don't know yet. This is the part that what's the probability function of finding this parton inside proton, or what's the probability of finding another parton inside this antiproton. That need to be determined by comparing the experiment data and the theory prediction. So that's what we do. That's what the CTAC PDF global analysis is dealing with, is to provide this information. Without this information, none of the theorists in the world can make any prediction. Without that calculation, none of the experiment data can be compared to the theory prediction. Okay? So that's how and why it's so important. Yeah. So therefore that we need to have this PDF. And this is a framework or based on the theoretical framework that need to be proven that whatever approximation we made is valid. And this is, for example, based on the favorization theorem by Karen Soper-Sturman, and David Soper is sitting there. And that's Dave is one of our CTAC members, and also he will provide the foundation of the theory, allow us to do the kind of calculation needed for describe today's data using the theory that we know about it. Okay, so 92 to 2007. So this is what Wookie came, as Chip was saying that 1992, Wookie and I joined the MSU. And then Wookie, after he came here, he immediately engaged the theorists like John Pomplin, Dan Stump, Carl, and myself to work with Wookie on the theory, on the QCD aspect of the theory. And then also that at that time, And within that period, we have Wayne and Liz, Simon and Seka, and myself also working on electrical physics, that aspect. And for the experimental side, mostly that Uki was working with the Chip and Joy and Harry Wirtz, our former colleague, who left in 2004 to Argonne National Lab. And those are the main members working in the experimental group, working with the Uki on the PDF-related analysis. I'm going to say a few more about the work, the important work they did in that period. So this, as Chip was saying, that Uki played an essential role to bring the experimentals and theorists all together at MSU, and then also to make the important program, the physics program out of it, to provide the CTAC, Parton distribution function, which have been used since 90s till today. And indeed that I did a little bit of search on the internet just to find out what's the citation. And indeed, it's more than some 15,000 citation based on the CTAC, all the CTAC series papers. Even one single paper like CTAC 6 has a citation more than 5,000 something. Yeah. So this is the great impact of the work that Uki led the group to work on these particle physics. So 2007, then Uki retired from here. So we, in the second Chip, and we organized a symposium for Uki. That's one-day symposium. And if you're interested, you can see this program there. Just to say goodbye to Uki, and since he has done so much for our group, and so as Chip was saying, that we really missed him. And this is the program that was held in 2007, but it's not. Before he left, this is what the conversation between Uki and me. So Uki said, it's a difficult and tedious task, but needed by the whole HEP community, as I explained to you. This PDF global analysis, without it, no theorist can do any prediction for the future experiment. No experimentalist could compare their data to the existing theory prediction. So you really need to have that information, and someone has to do it. And remember, let me remind you that at that time, in fact, the CTAC PDF was, even today, really is the only PDF available from the United States. And also it's one of the 3 most commonly used PDF in the world to describe today's LHC physics. So Uki said it's very difficult and asked me to take over the CTAC project. And as Wayne was telling you that my major interest really is in the electrical physics. I have fun of working with the Goldstone-Boson equivalent theory. I had fun of thinking about what top part physics can provide us about this high energy scale, these underlying dynamics. But being a member of the MSU, so after 2 weeks, I thought that it's very important to have someone, that means me, to take over this project, since I probably was the only one who at that time could take over this project in the theory group. So okay, so we shake hand then. So as you can see that we did shake hand. So there you go. All right. So 2007, 2009, well, it doesn't mean that Uki say, okay, you have it. No, it's not that. So 2009, and Uki played a very important role in the development of the, our group here. So at the time, then we proposed and then, oh, sorry, this is a typo here, and awarded. Sorry, I will correct that. We proposed and awarded the 5-year NSF grant from MSU. So I was a PI, and then Uki, John Pompley, and Dan Stump, we were all in that proposal. And during that period, then Uki called from the home in Seattle frequently to advise us how to perfectioning this proposal. But sadly, that Wookie passed away on the March 30. In fact, on the same day, we were told that our grant was awarded. It's 6:30 p.m. I received the email. I wrote email and to his friend Fred Cooper, and then I wrote to Wookie saying that our grant being awarded. But yeah, that was at that day. And then just the day before that, Wookie was still calling us about the physics project. So that's what Wookie was. So you see that this Wookie's devotion to physics research. So that's up to the 2009, and then the 2009 to present. We then, since then, we call our collaboration as a CTAC T project. T is the Tung et al. Project. We want to find a name, right? That sort of saying that, okay, the Chinese American. he was also a member of the Overseas Chinese Physics Association, and also played a very important role in that organization. And he likes tea anyway, so we call tea, right? So that's our tea collaboration, and at present that we have the Michigan State. That's Joy Houston. And then John Pumpling, Dan Stump, Carl Schmitz, and Jan Winter is our postdoc, and that's our from MSU. And then also from Southern Methodist University, Pavel Nodosky. He's the leader there, and then he was my former PhD student. And then this is his two students at the SMU. Then at the Xinjiang University, China, that's Saib Jamal Dulat. She's our visiting professor here. She visits from Xinjiang. And then Tiejun Ho is the new faculty there, and who was also our former visiting postdoc here. And they came here to learn from John Pumpling and Dan Stump how to do this global analysis. So they were here for 4 months, and just to study how to start participating in this research since 2012, 5 years ago. And Shanghai Jiao Tong University, China, the Jingao, and then also this Canada State University, the Guzik. So these are the current members of our CTAC-T collaboration. And this is a collaboration now providing this one of the 3 most commonly used PDF in the high-energy physics community, particularly at the LHC. Okay. So then, since 2009, then what I've been interacting with the almost all our colleagues here, like Chip was saying. So with Reinhardt, our experimental colleague here, and we are working on the top part physics. And Reinhardt, of course, now he's the leader of the top quad physics program at the Atlas collaboration. And Joey Houston and Wade Fisher. And Joey, of course, he's a key member of the CTAC PDF. And Joey's participation in the PDF analysis is much earlier than I. Yeah? He has been working with Wookie from the day one on this pattern diffusion function. And remember, I was asked to join in 2007. Although that I was a member of the CTAC since 1992. And at that time, I was really only one series who knows more about electron physics in that collaboration. So I was always making a noise about electron physics, since we are talking about something that most of them did not know much about. So, but then since 1992, now we have the CTAC collaboration has expanded. Now we are also include the experts, many experts on the electron physics, and also the nuclear physics community. These very good people join this CTAC collaboration. And then our plan is that to extend that CTAC even bigger to cover some aspect, this in between this particle physics and nuclear physics. That is the lattice QCD. I will talk about that in a minute. Okay, so the Wade, so the Higgs physics that we been, like I've been talking to Wade to ask any detail about the Higgs physics and that done experimentally. and to get advice there. And then the theory side, we have the PDF analysis, John Pamplin, Dan Stump, and Carl Schmitz. And Carl is a very important member, in fact, in the CTAC collaboration. Although he's not a formal member of CTAC, but he really participated early on the CTAC-related work here at MSU. He worked with Wookie much earlier than I did. And that's in the 90s, he already worked with Wookie on the PDF analysis. And then the second list, then we also work paper together on the new physics and beyond the standard model. Although that up to now, that all the data agree with standard model of particle physics. But for the serious theorists like me, we believe that there's something beyond the standard model. So then that's new physics. So we're always interested in that. So we are also working on that aspect. And with Chip, that even now that we continue our collaboration on how to improve our particle distribution function, namely to reduce its uncertainty in order to probe new physics or to test the standard model electroweak physics, that WNZ boson physics. Okay. So of course that also involved lots of the postdoc students in the past to make that happen. So that I was able to work with all these fine people here at the MSU. So what are we doing? So now here comes the equation, John. So what we're doing is this not greater than 1. We want to make this approach to 0. Yes. So what this delta E now, of course, this has somewhat different meaning of it. This is really what Wookiees pursue. Wookiees pursue high standard, as what Chip was indicating. It's really a high standard. That's what Wookie is about. Yeah? Wookie's research is always about high standard. So what we want is we want to have the precision of the experimental measurement, that's E, delta E, the experimental measurement, yeah? Precision, go down to 0. We want the accuracy of theory prediction, namely the error in the theory to go down to 0. Yes, it's not accuracy go down to 0, it's the error go down to 0. Yeah? So that's what we want. We want to have the theory part is improved as much as we can. The experimental side, again, the experimentalists who have to work harder and to think of new ways to do the more precise measurements. And the theorists that have to find new type of technique in order to get a better prediction. Yeah? So we work with theorists around the world, and then we also work with the experimentalists everywhere, Tevatron, Hera, LHC, and our group here is the Atlas, a collaboration here. So that's what we are pursuing. That's what we want. So then how do we do that? Before I get to that, let me tell you a few stories happened in the past, in reality, that really happened, 1996. So 1996, this was the experiment at that time. It found out that what this plot is showing, doesn't matter, let me just explain to you. There's this 1 here. 1 meaning is the data divided by theory. If it's 1, then it's perfect agreement, because the data divided by the theory prediction at that time. So if this were 1, then that would be perfect agreement. But then what you see here is this is the data. The data certainly is not 1. In this region, the data deviated from 1. And this different curve are the different theory predictions by using different PDF at that time. Okay? Different, as I said, you need PDF in order to do prediction, but different group give you different PDF. Then you can make prediction. Then there you go. Those occur. However, you see, none of these could describe this to describe this data. So certainly that in the theory community, everybody got excited because this is great. We found new physics. That's the serious, very serious theorists like me always want to see new physics. Yes, we believe that standard model is not a final story. There must be something beyond that. So then many theoretical papers were written to interpret this new physics effect. Yeah, so lots of new ideas and saying that, yes, this data confirm my new idea, new physics idea. But then, in fact, it's the same year, 1996, that I forgot to put down reference here. I will put that down there later. It was a paper that given by Wookie, Joy, and Dave, and the 2 of our colleagues wrote a paper to explain that you don't need new physics. All you need is the PDF. All you need is to improve this so-called gluon. Gluon is one of those partons I told you about, to improve the gluon PDF. Namely that at this time, that's a PDF, they are not accurate enough. It's just the PDF is wrong. It's not the standard model is wrong. It's just that when you compare the data to the theory to extract out the PDF, back in that time, that was just not correct. So what they wrote a paper to show that all you need to do is just to have a better gluon PDF, then you can explain data. There's no need for new physics. You see, that's the kind of importance of this work. If there were no such work being done, then the people would then say, yes, I have a new physics already, and then maybe different theorists would argue for different kind of new physics. But it's precisely this kind of work that laid the very important foundation of the QC theory, and also shows that Wookie's high standard, yeah, to really get the bottom of the truth. So, as I told you, that was the time people make these and then say, yes, I have this prediction do not agree with data. But then that made them to think, how do I quantify that uncertainty? Like we say, what's the uncertainty of this Parton function? And in fact, these are the two papers were written back in 2002. Again, that's Wookie working with the Dan Stam, John Pomplin, Chip Rock, and Joe Houston. And then the Wookie's former PhD student from here at MSU, and later on became a faculty in Taiwan. That's Hongliang Lai. So they wrote these two very important papers to show the community how to quantify the uncertainty of the Parton distribution function. And that was revolutionary. Because prior to that, people did not know about the uncertainties. People only find out what's the best fit of the PDF. But as you can see that's very dangerous, as this example in here. If you have that, if they had that uncertainty information, then that could provide additional judgment for them than to say that if they're new physicists or not, yes? So that's why it's important of having this uncertainty. And those two papers lay out this, the detailed method how to do it. And in fact, now all the PDF group, analysis group using this same method to describe the uncertainties. Okay, so again, that's important work from Wookie, and then together with Dan and John and Chip and Joy at MSU. Okay, another example. Now today at LHC, that's a CMS experiment at LHC. Yeah. So as you can see, this is some sort of the measurement. It's called W charge symmetry measurement. Doesn't matter what that is. Let me just show you about this data. That's blacked out data. And those bands are the uncertainty estimate. Since then, since 2002, the Wookie, together with Chip and Joey, already told us how to make that uncertainty, yes? So now we know what's the uncertainty. So you do the uncertainty. Then you see that these are our prediction. The yellow one is the CT10, the CTEC-T group. That agree with the data quite well. But however, if you look another set of PDF like this set, this is another set called MSCW 2008, you see that it certainly did not describe the data. So again, what this is telling you is that we need to have a better theory. We also need to have a better data in order to test the data with the theory and to learn more about the theory parameter, yes? So we need more calculation. In this case, it's response calculation. That's also something I developed here at MSU. And with the better PDF, that's from our CTEC PDF that describe this data well. Now, into the LHC area, there's something very important about LHC, is that this data now is getting more precise. Now it's less than percent level. You see, back in the early days, if the data is something like 30%, you say that's very good data. 10%, you say very, very good. But now today it's 1%. In fact, many data has a precision less than percent level. It's sub-percent level. So the data is so precise. The experimenters, they are really great, and they're smart people. They really improve their detector and design the experiment such that they can do a measurement down to that sub-percent level. Now it's from the theory side, it required much accurate calculation with higher order perturbed QCD and electric calculation, and also better understanding of non-perturbed QCD. So what that means is that perturbed means the part that we know how to do calculation today using our theory. Non-perturbed meaning that today we have other tool may be able to do it eventually. We don't know when yet, but today we still using this global analysis to find out the PDF, for example. That's non-perturbed part expected. So we want to know, have better understanding with that. So give you one example. It doesn't matter what kind of measurement this is, but I just want to point out this. You see, with this shaded line here, this gray line, that means the theory uncertainty. There's a different kind of measurement. The different row means different kind of measurement, different kind of data. All the color ones are the data. So you see, sometimes you see the theory uncertainty is much larger than experimental uncertainty, and sometimes you see that the experimental uncertainty is smaller than the theory uncertainty. Yes? So remember I told you about this delta E, delta T approach to 0? It's happening. The data is approaching to error to approaching to 0. The theory want to approach into 0. But it's not that all the measurement we know how to do it yet. But indeed, that there are some experiment that you can see it has data error is larger than theory error, some is smaller. But the goal is to make that approach to 0. And that's a place that the PDF analysis become even more important compared to the earlier days. Different PDF group analysis, they also give you different kind of predictions. So all these different locations on the vertical axis tell you that they have somewhat different predictions. So again, that shows that we need to have more than one global analysis group to make a comparison, because different group, they have different strategy, they have a different way of doing the calculation or picking up the data set. So therefore, they have different kind of systematical consideration. Yeah? So we need to have this different kind of comparison. And indeed, currently, as I said, there are 3 most commonly used PDF global analysis. MSU here is the only one in the United States. Another one is in the England, that Durham, and another group is in Italy. So those are the 3 groups most been commonly used. So those are the MMHT, and then PDF, and our own CTEC-T prediction. All right, so just give you some flavor about the difference. So you see that this is 2010 compared to 2012. What this plot is showing that different PDF analysis group, do they agree or not? You see, back in 2010, they are very different. Different color means different group, give you a different prediction. 2012, they're much closer. Yeah, all these things are much closer. Now, if you go to the right now 2015, you see they're pretty much all the same. Yes. So again, this showed us that the progress being made when the data becomes more precise, and the theory has been pursued to a yet more accurate calculation, then we then find all these different groups, they all reach the same conclusion, meaning that the standard model of particle physics indeed can describe all the current data. Yeah? So they are all consistent. So that's very important to have that kind of the assuring conclusion. All right, so now let me move to this. I told you about we need better calculation perturbatively. So therefore, that our new faculty, Andres, was hired to provide this more accurate perturbed QCD calculation. We also need more understanding on the non-perturbed part. That's the lattice QCD. So our university hired a group of the lattice QCD, 3 of them, and the Hui Wen and Alexei, they have the appointment to our PA, our physics department, and Hui Wen has the larger fraction in our group. So this is to do with the lattice QCD. So all these are important to the CTEC-T global analysis. In fact, earlier I told you that CTEC collaboration now consists of particle physics and nuclear physics, but there's in between this bridge them together, and that's why Hui Wen's work. So in fact, tomorrow we are going to bring Hui Wen to the CTEC collaboration, and then we want to convince the CTEC collaboration that she should be included as a member, or the new member of the CTEC collaboration, in order to complete this physics spectrum of the PDF analysis. So at this moment, we have a theory, HEP theory, and experiment. So our experiment has the LHC physics with Tripp, Joy, and Reinhardt and Wade. And the astral particle physics aspect is IceCube. Study neutrino dark matter, that's by Tai, and Dune, that's a neutrino program, Kendall and Carl, and Hawk, the cosmic ray program by Jim and Kirsten. So as you can see that our group, the hydrogen physics group, also expand not only doing the collider physics, but also into the neutrino physics and the dark matter physics and cosmic ray. So this is given this endowed chair professor, then I also need to tell you what I'm going to do. So in my near future, and this is really going on already, with the Lattice QC group, I told you about our 3 new colleagues and Carl Schmitz, that we already set up a time we'll get together to talk about what's a new type of analysis to do this PDF. And then this IceCube, that's led by Tai. Then we talk about that we could get together to talk about what's the impact of the PDF at this high energy and small x. Again, x is what I told you earlier about the fractional momentum of the parton carrying, small x. With the Lattice QC and the Dune, then we can look at the impact of PDF at the low energy and large x, because that's the region that the neutrino, this Dune program is most sensitive to, is in that region. And then LHC, there's precision electroweak new physics search, and that's all the kind of things that I will be getting involved with our group here. Of course, we can use the help of new HEP theory faculty hire on astral particle physics. I think that's something that's very useful. So nowadays, a typical title page and the first 2 pages on my recent talks is the following. First, of course, this is a talk I gave at the Italy, the Venice. I talk about update of CTEC-T pound function. So then I would say CTEC-T, Tung et al., in matter of Professor Wookie Tung, established the CTEC collaboration, early 90s. And then this is the $1 million. I have to show that, to show the money. So then they are convinced, yes. And this is, I like to call it Tripp said this gift, yes, is exactly the right way to honor him. He loved his legacy, will inspire future faculty the kind of science that he loved most, learning about the nature collaboratively. Now, I know I use lots of time, but that's okay. Since I want to show you this, because I spent lots of time to think about this slide. So later you have to share this with your mom. So Wookie, this is his Chinese name. Yeah, the last name, and that's the first name, Wookie. Chinese pronunciation called Wuqi, Dong Wuqi. His passion for physics research and extracting high standard and for scientific collaboration and collegiality is truly one of the kind. He also liked Jin Yong's Kung Fu fiction novels. I mean, there are Chinese students here. How many of you have seen the Jin Yong's movie novel? But yes, probably everybody, yes. That's right. These are Chinese Kung Fu fiction novels. That's Wookie like it. He read every one of them. There's a series, he read every one of them. And he could talk to you about detail of that movie, that novel. And I could even not. Some I could, but not all of them. But he could. And enjoying Jin Yong's language, Wookie's Kung Fu, on physics research would be as great as nothing beyond, as thorough as nothing between. I put that up. I think I'm very proud of myself. Get that right. Okay, because this Jin Yong's a language anyway, so I think. All right, so this in Chinese. For those who are Chinese, you appreciate this. 智大无外，极小无内。无极, that's Wookie's name. And this is really the meaning of this. This meaning is this English. As great as nothing beyond, 智大无外. As thorough as nothing between, 极小无内. So that's how he did his research, his attitude toward research, high standard. So with that, then I say thanks to Tung's family for the generous gift. We will all try hard to live up to Uki's expectation and a high standard. Thank you very much.
Very nice.
On behalf of my family, we're very gratified and very proud for you to have this honor. All right. Let's see. When I was here 3 weeks ago for the university-wide investiture ceremony, I spoke briefly on behalf of the entire donor community. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this particular investiture. One of the things I said then is that every endowed faculty position has a unique and special story behind it. I believe it is important for that story to be recounted and considered, since it really should inform the award process and help ensure that the honoree be aligned with not only the associated academic or scientific topic, but with the spirit that is the intent and the meaning imbued in the role. In the case of the professorship created in my father's name, my family and I wanted, of course, to make sure that the position represented and supported the field of science that he spent his career working in, which is particle physics. But it was even more important to us that it represented and supported the manner in which my father approached his work. As Chip and CP have both noted today, collaboration was at the core of how my father practiced physics and academics, as evidenced in his organizing efforts and dedication to the CTEC collaboration, as well as all of his other professional endeavors. Therefore, we wanted to make sure that the notion of collaboration, which means working, literally laboring together, figured prominently into the charter for the professorship. The other word that we wanted to highlight, and this actually was on one of CP's slides, is the word collegiality, which adds a nuanced but significant overtone, I believe, to the description of my father's working principles. The base word colleague has, by no coincidence, the same roots as the word college. They are composed of the prefix col, which means with or together, combined with the Latin legere, meaning to choose or to gather. But the historical meaning and connotation of college, and hence collegiality, is a self-governed association of people joined in some common function, some common purpose, as in the ancient Roman collegia, or craft guilds. These days, just as colleges are the places for scholars to come together and collectively craft their knowledge and thinking and methods of instruction, colleagues, at least in the sense that we in the Charter intend to celebrate and promote, are the people who come together and collectively craft their knowledge and thinking and methods of instruction. In the best cases, they do this irrespective of, but not necessarily disrespecting, established or externally imposed institutional boundaries. Instead, they self-organize around higher shared doctrines and aspirations. They develop and operate under innovative and pertinent guidelines and means of interaction. So my family and I are extremely gratified that the first award of the professorship in my father's name is going to CP, someone who worked so closely with my father for many years, and who is and has long been a prominent member of the CTEC collaboration that my father believed so strongly in. There could not be a more fitting designation in terms of the alignment and continuity of the physics, as well as the practice of and the commitment to the collaboration and collegiality that we desire to support through the creation of this endowment. On behalf of my family, I would like to express gratitude also to the many people at MSU who have worked with us over the last several years and who have helped us make this position possible. In particular, I would like to thank Suzette Hittner. I don't know if she's, oh hi! And
and Corey Palmer, and Karen Wank, and Phil Duxbury, for their visits and their phone calls, for their ideas and guidance to us through this process, and for keeping us connected with and excited by the ongoing developments and the spirit of the university as a whole, and the College of Natural Science in particular. And I know there are many other people behind the scenes who are too numerous to list and whose names I don't all know, who also deserve our thanks. I want to express a very special appreciation to Chip Rock, excuse me, for his tremendous effort and meticulous and his tremendous effort and meticulous and heartfelt dedication to the drafting of the charter for the endowment, especially in detailing the biographical information about my father's career, as well as beautifully capturing the ethos of his beliefs. Chip's involvement and contribution could only have been made by somebody who is a true colleague, a staunch supporter, and most importantly, a cherished friend. So, congratulations to CP, again, as a charter recipient of this award. I have every confidence that he and the Wu-Ki-Tung Professorship in Particle Physics will serve each other well, and that he will be the exemplar for all honorees to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leigh. That was fantastic. And we're going to continue the celebrations just down the corridor in room 1400. Everybody is welcome to join us for the reception. Thanks very much to all who participated.